Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
Hi again. If you were not here a couple of weeks ago, my name is Yahel. I think most of you probably were here, so most of you know me, but in case you don't, just so you know, I'm speaking from Berlin, and because of several conditions, I'll usually be speaking from places that are not my home, but a place like this, which maybe you can tell it's not my home. And I'm very happy to be here with you. I really love these morning sessions, kind of tuning to the Dharma really from the beginning of the day and having that setting the tone. And I also really appreciate the continuity of themes of the week. Again, it helps to kind of cultivate something and create a certain momentum in the heart and mind. A couple of weeks ago, we have been focusing on the theme of metta, or the quality of metta, and we cultivated metta from a few perspectives, but mostly expanding the metta to different figures, so categories of beings. And in between, you had a week of practice with Ayala, I think. She was the last teacher to teach, and I got the kind of order of things wrong, and I hope that was wonderful. And this week, I will be speaking about the theme of equanimity, and we will attend together in the direction of equanimity. Now, equanimity is quite a broad theme and quite an important quality in the Dharma. The Buddha definitely valued it highly and spoke about it in a few ways. My teacher Rob said that the Buddha, and I'm saying that my teacher Rob said it because I haven't made the effort to find a quote myself, said that the Buddha differentiated between two kinds of equanimity. One is equanimity that is based in oneness. So now I taught a retreat, and on this retreat, while I was practicing, I attuned myself again and again to a certain quality, to a certain frequency, or you can say a texture of experience that had to do with peace and steadiness. That's an example of equanimity based in oneness. You're attuning the mind again and again to a very particular quality, so a texture of happiness and peace. And we just inclined the mind there. Actually, it wasn't we, it was mostly me, because the retreat followed a slightly different theme, but still, that was a part of it. Incline the mind again and again in the direction of this steady, stable, very refined happiness. And from that, equanimity towards the multiplicity of conditions came naturally. So there is this kind of equanimity. Another kind of equanimity is equanimity based in multiplicity, or maybe a different phrasing for it can be equanimity that approaches the multiplicity. And here we're speaking about equanimity that's not based on attuning again and again to this one texture, one level of experience, one layer that creates a kind of steady, stable, refined stream or field of experience, and then the equanimity expands from there. But we're actually speaking about something a little bit more, a little bit different. And I would say incredibly important in terms of a complementary to that, and also just in terms of walking around and being in the world basically outside retreats or relatively practice, and that's multiplicity. The equanimity that approaches the multiplicity, that looks at the conditions of life, on the changing nature of them, on the manifoldness of them, and is steady, deep, wide, open, flexible with all that. And it's very possible to develop such a kind of equanimity. Like all the qualities that the Buddha spoke of and recommended to develop, this kind of equanimity brings happiness and joy and ease to one's life. And generally speaking, as we walk around in the life, we can have all sorts of different interests and things that take our attention and that we incline ourselves towards. A core piece of the Dharma would say, make the first priority what you cultivate, what you develop, what you nourish in the heart and mind. It doesn't mean necessarily that you need to withdraw from anything else or everything else that you do, but it does mean to keep that in mind. What do I nourish? What do I cultivate? The human mind can be, well, it can be a terrible place. Truly a place that's very hard to live in. And it's very human to go there. It's really part of the human spectrum to live with heart and mind that creates so much difficulty that it's almost unbearable. So the heart can do that. The mind has that potential all the time. It kind of throws, it grows problems, movements of pushing and pulling, movements of reification, all sorts of things, and it can be very easy to just go with that and keep on nourishing that. There is something quite addictive in it, and part of the default mode of the human heart. It's not because you are doing something wrong. That's just part of being human. But as human beings, we can choose what we nourish, what we cultivate. And in the heart, in the mind, there is also the potential for immense beauty. Just incredible depth, incredible openness. Incredible sensitivity and attunement and wisdom. And yes, the Dharma really helps with it, but it helps with it because it's a potential of the human heart and mind that needs a little bit of help often, but then it can grow very organically and from our own experiences. So there are these two potentials in the heart and mind, and always the question in the Dharma is like, what do you nourish? What do you support? What do you feed, you can say? The nourishment of beautiful qualities of the heart and mind brings happiness short term. So when there is just a little bit more equanimity in the heart, there is more ability to move in one's life, more ability to be touched by life and not getting caught into struggles that makes everything quite hard and heavy and burdening. And long term, kind of, oh, all right. I'm assuming that you're hearing me and seeing me okay because I'm not getting anything on the chat. So just continue and all right. It says my reception probably was a little bit imperfect, so that made me suspicious. And long term, the cultivation of equanimity actually kind of creates, like the cultivation of all these qualities, it creates a new tone, a new groove, a new habit of being in the mind. And that habit of being can join the habits of being we already have when we can shift way to it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more every time, and learn to trust it, learn to find it as a resource and a refuge. So I would say we have a strong interest, significant interest to cultivate such equality. Now, how or a way in which I can speak of the quality of equanimity. One simile coming from the Buddha is a simile of a stone pillar that's kind of really grounded deep in the ground, and it's quite broad, quite wide, very heavy. So all sorts of winds, all sorts of conditions, all sorts of things come and go around it, and it's unshakable. It doesn't tremble. So we can think of equanimity like this. We can also think of it as being very wide or very flexible, responsive. When the Buddha spoke about the conditions of the world, he spoke about 8 or 4 pairs of worldly conditions. And well, these conditions, they will be a part of every being's life, or at least every human being's life. Everyone are going to experience these conditions and the changes. One pair is pleasure and pain. The shifting, the changing nature, the impermanence of pleasure and pain. Now, as human beings, we may want to invest so we have only or mostly pleasure, but is this really a realistic idea? If you'll tune to pleasure and pain, you'll see they're shifting. It's a kind of, they're very unstable, very unsteady. So one pair, pleasure and pain. Another pair, I don't remember the order, so I may not do it by order. Success and failure. Success and failure. We may want to have the orientation of success. We may want to succeed as much as possible. But success and failure, it'll just go like this. There will be this, and there will be this, and there will be this, and there will be this. And sometimes the shifts will be big and sometimes small, etc., etc. And that's the nature of this set of conditions. You cannot succeed all the time. It's an impossibility. So success and failure. Then we have gain and loss. And then we have praise and blame. And you got the idea. The nature of this condition is to shift, is to change. You get fame, people praise you, people appreciate you for something, and then you get a little bit of blame. They say something about you. They don't like you as much. That's kind of the nature of things. And a question here is how much of our life are leaning and kind of invested in these conditions that are changing by nature. And is there a possibility to hear the invitation to invest or to pull some of this investment or a lot of it and to put it in a place that's much broader, that's much wider, that's much more reliable? And I'm saying place, of course, I don't mean a physical place, but I don't even mean one mental place. It's kind of there are all sorts of ways in which we can approach more equanimous realms, equanimous fields, equanimous postures. Right? And they can feel in all sorts of different ways. And during this week, we will experiment with a bunch of those. There will be some gradual evolvement, but mostly it will be exploring different ways of holding and relating to the changing conditions of body, of mind, of the social world in a way. We won't be looking at that much because in most of what we'll do, the social world will be kind of implied by the way we'll approach the more bodily and mental conditions, but it's a part of the view, of course, as implied from the 8 worldly conditions. Can we learn to poise ourselves, to set ourselves in an angle or angles that allow so much more freedom with regard to these conditions? Knowing and not underestimating the tendency of the heart to be very impacted by them, and also knowing and trusting that there are possibilities of existence that are so much broader, so much more gratifying, and so much more compassionate towards oneself and towards others than the ones offered by the kind of heavy investment in the world conditions. So now we can meditate together. And we'll meditate for about half an hour or so. And the meditation today will be quite simple. It will be kind of mindfulness and intimacy with experience here in the center of the body, in the whole body, and then going wider. And there will be an invitation there. And the invitation is to come very, very close, to be very sensitive to the unfoldment of experience, however it presents itself. And then I'll invite an idea that my teacher, Robert Bear, presented. The idea or the question is, can I be at peace with the stream of experience? Or can I be at peace with changing experience? If you want to formulate it a little bit differently, the invitation will be to allow change, to allow change. And that means to stay very, very sensitive and, well, allow change. Change will be there. Movement will be there. Slow, fast, predictable, unpredictable. It will be there. Your job is to be sensitive and to welcome it, to allow it as fully as possible, as honestly as possible. Okay, let us meditate together. Find your way to a posture that really works for you. You could meditate sitting. And of course, you can also meditate standing, walking, or lying down if you feel that would be the most beneficial posture for your heart and mind. I'm sorry, for your body, heart, and mind. And really take a minute to arrange the conditions, cushions, shawls, windows, whatever needs to be changed. And see if there is anything you would like to change in the posture itself. Sometimes small things can make a big difference. And perhaps you can feel the posture as a refuge. especially if you have been doing this for a while, but even if not. The meditative posture as a home, as a refuge. In a way, it conceals the memory of all your past practice. And maybe not just of yourself, through entering and inhabiting the posture, you're joining a stream of practitioners, going back all the way to the Buddha, and maybe before that. In a way, joining the stream of their practice as well. Then feel how your body feels from the inside. Do it in an open, simple way. See if you can relax any pressure or demand with regard to how the body should feel like. And then take time to relax the body a little bit more systematically. So touching with your awareness and relaxing different parts of the body. You can start from the top of the head. Making yourself sensitive to the top of the head and then relaxing, softening. And then gradually moving down to the back of the head. And then the forehead, in and around the eyes. And gradually down the face. Touching and relaxing the different muscles there. Then you can move your awareness down to the throat and the back of the neck. The whole neck, touching and relaxing. Then down to the shoulders, and down the arms and the hands. Touching and relaxing those, including the palms of the hands. Then, from the neck down the spine, all through the spine. Relaxing the right and the left side of it too. So the whole back. Then around the tailbone, into the pelvis, down the legs. Touching and relaxing. Then the belly and chest in exactly this way. Then make yourself sensitive to the whole body, and you can do another more intuitive scan. Just noticing if there are some areas in the body that are still tense and that you can relax. Relaxing those, and make yourself sensitive to the whole body again. you can remind yourself your kind intentions. The wishing well to yourself and to others. That's count and is the basis of your meditation and Dharma practice. You can support it with phrases if you want, or just tune to the stream of it. Sensitive to the whole body, letting this be the context of your meditation, the background of your meditation. And with this background, find a spot where it feels okay to place your attention. It can be anywhere, but you may want to find a spot that's in the central axis of the body. So somewhere between the top of the head and the pelvis, probably a little bit towards to the front. These areas that are most sensitive, like the face and the throat and the heart area and the belly. Or a little bit lower. You can find a spot there and let your attention very gently, approach that spot. Sensitive, very much alive, and delicate. Curious, how does it feel there? And let us spend just a couple of minutes like this, sensitive, attuned to the experience of body there, however it is, whatever it is. sensitive to the life of the body. It may not be an area of experience that you label as being especially significant or impactful, but maybe you can sense there is something very honest about it. In a way, a bit more real than many levels of experience that we would think of as significant. Or be a little bit busy with, or very busy with. Just the life of the body, however it is. How does it feel to be intimate with it, close to it? Notice if there is a sense of demand with regard to how the experience should feel like. There is a relatively kind of by default an intuitive sense of demand that's usually being built. As the mind responds to pleasantness and unpleasantness with pushing and pulling. So see if you can relax some of that. Simply, humbly, slowly coming close, again and again. Make your attention clear, bright, alive, and soft. And if it feels right, you can take on the length of allowing change. Or in my teacher's words, may I be at peace with the stream of experience. And it's not so much a mantra or something like that. It's, again, a lens, an attitude of attention that you can take. Let's take a few minutes with it. like with all these lenses that we can use in practice, you may need to remind it to yourself. It does not tend to be the default mode, so can I be at peace? Or may I be at peace? With a stream of experience or with a change of experience. Find a way to do that that would feel good. It may be something about the attunement of attention that will make the difference. If it feels right, make your attention wider. From that spot, let it expand to the whole body. And while the whole body was in the background of your attention, now it can become foreground. So opening, sensitive to the whole body. This sensitivity can be a little bit wider than the boundaries of the physical body. So you're sitting surrounded and full of attention, or your body is surrounded and full of alive, light, kind attention. This sensitivity to the whole body will tend to shrink, and this means you can open it again and again, just like you would come back to the breath in other practices. You open to the whole field of the body again and again. In this field, there will be all sorts of densities and vibrations and sensations, all sorts of frequencies, as if make yourself open to all of them, including all of those in your attention is a part of equanimity or can support equanimity. Some will be somewhat pleasant, some clearly unpleasant, some somewhere in between. See if you can be open to all of those, sensitive to all of those. And opening again and again to the whole body. Often there is something a little bit pleasant in just doing that. And if it feels right, you can remind yourself and support the lens. May I be at peace with the stream of experience. Open, sensitive to the whole body, noticing the changes, the stream, the fluctuations. There is some level of unpredictability in the experience. Tune your attention so it's alive but soft and receptive. And towards the end of this practice, you can ask yourself, was there something here that was helpful and that you would want to take with you to further meditations or your practice during the day? And with this, you can relax the meditative posture and the meditative intention. And come back to this shared space when it feels right.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.